Where does this take me? Now that I beat... Oh god, I'm dying. Anyways, now that I beat CRONOS, The New Dawn. The New Dawn? The New Dawn. Okay, so now that I beat this game, here are just some quick fire thoughts. I like the game. I'll probably still give it like a 3 out of 5. Like it's a middle 3.5 maybe. So the combat is pretty good. It's a little what I would say a combination of Dead Space and Resident Evil, in the fact that it's like Resident Evil because there's like inventory management. There's more emphasis on inventory management. I believe there's a little less of it in Dead Space. I can't really remember. It's been years since I played that game, but I don't remember being like pressed, be like, oh no, I gotta really manage everything. So it's in that vein. It's closer to Resident Evil, older Resident Evil, where you're like, man, I have to keep swapping things out, or like maybe use one thing so then I can build more things. So that part is more Resident Evil. Now, what's akin to Dead Space is kind of like the enemy, not necessarily combat itself, because in Dead Space, it's about slicing specific body parts to actually take out the monsters. In CRONOS, it's not that, but it's more about don't let them morph together, because the enemies / monsters in CRONOS get stronger if they get to a dead body and then they like merge into it. So you really want to prevent that. And then, you know, as the more powerful enemies get armor pieces on them, so you have to shoot them in specific parts if you want to do more damage. And then there's like fire damage you can do to like kind of stun them, so you can really take them out. But the combat overall, I did enjoy. It got a little bit annoying, if I'm being honest, with the charge attacks. I wish I could just shoot my gun normally. You can, but it just does less damage. I was kind of getting sick of the charge attacks. But overall, I think the combat is fun enough for how long the game takes to beat. I think it was like 10 to 12 hours-ish it took me to beat. So it's good enough to take you through the game. And now for the story. I don't know what is happening, really. I have no idea what's happening. Literally, what? Understood like probably 80% of the story. Spoiler alert, just in case. You're like you play as like this time traveler, I think, that goes back in time. Time traveler goes back in time. And you're like picking out these specific people because they're important for some reason. Even though I beat the game, I'm still like, why does... Then there's like this collective that gives you the orders to collect these to get these specific people, but I don't really know what the collective necessarily is. And I'm guessing these targets that you're supposed to... Also, I guess I should say, when you find your target, you're like sucking their essence out with these like glaive things. Either way, it's really bizarre, the story, but they're important somehow, and you're supposed to bring them into a collective, and that thing fails. So like they're influencing your mind throughout the game, which I feel like they underutilized the hallucination in the game. There are parts that shows up, but I think they could have pushed that more to make it more scary in the game, to really be like, blur the line between you're like, oh, is this real or is this fake? Because there's times where you're like, I'm pretty sure these are fake, and you just run through it. But there are times where I was like, man, I wish they implemented more where like, oh, this is a hallucination. Like, no, that's an actual enemy. And then they push that more, and you know, vice versa. So you run through and be like, that's a real enemy, and you're like, no, it wasn't. I wish they could have played with that a little more. But overall, the story is a little like meh, because the ending, I was like, so spoiler again, just in case, I'm Veronica. Well, I got that part, but I was like, what was the warden trying to accomplish? Well, he was trying to save Veronica, but what was he doing to Veronica that made me suffer so much? Like, was he morphing me? Because there's like a little flash scene where it looked like I was like deformed. I don't know what exactly was happening. So I only understood probably 80% of the story. And so with these two combined, I would say it's more of like a 3.5 out of 5. So I enjoyed the game. I just don't know if I loved. No, I didn't love the game, but I enjoyed the game. Now, I think this game will be better when there is a sequel. I know there is DLC coming out, but if they give a sequel and then like refine some things, it might be better because you know how Dead Space 2. Well, actually, Dead Space 1's pretty good, but Dead Space 2 really refined some things. I think if they give some time, if this becomes a franchise, Chronos 2 could maybe become a thing.